Can Kylo Ren be redeemed? It's no doubt that the new Star Wars baddie is a fan favorite. I am no exception. But do you think we can expect to see a redemption arc from him? Now, I'm a huge sucker for redemption arcs. See here my massive crushes on Zuko and Sasuke. So I would love to see a redemption arc happen for who could end up taking the place of Obi-Wan as my all-time favorite character in the Star Wars franchise. But even I admit that after the events of the last film, it seems like this is going to be a very difficult task. But what if? And I mean, what if? The act that made Kylo so irredeemable to many is actually the one that redeemed him. While some do want to see him become further immersed in the dark side, we essentially saw this develop happen with Anakin, so I would love to see this take a different turn. Now, all of this is just like talk and theorizing. I'm not really sure if normal audiences who don't spend hours writing up pages of Star Wars meta would be able to understand this. So while I do like approaching the movie like this, we'll have to see if it has any truth to it. So let's get to the scene in question. Before I keep going, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers. This is a major spoiler. In about 20 seconds, I'll tell you the biggest spoiler in the movie. If you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, which I'm not sure how you haven't already, stop watching now. So yeah, let's get to the scene in question, Han's death scene. Now we see this scene as actually Kylo taking the plunge into the dark side completely. And though that is what I do believe is intended, let's actually take this scene as the key to Kylo's redemption. Han is one of my favorite characters, so when this scene happened, or when it was spoiled for me, I was massively devastated. I thought for sure I would hate Kylo, but he actually came out of that movie being my favorite character. I can't see the story progressing to this degree without it. But yeah, let's break down this scene from a different perspective. Kylo and Han are standing on this bridge, which if I were on that bridge, I would have fallen off immediately because where are the armor rails? They had this confrontation where we see Kylo is clearly distraught, pathetic, and lost. According to the script notes and the novelization, this is the first time Han has seen his son as an adult, and he is breaking down like a child. That alone is truly heartbreaking. Han pleads with his son to come home, that his mother and him miss him, and while Kylo tries to defend Snoke, Han and the script notes imply that Kylo knows that Snoke is just using him as a tool. Kylo knows this. It's too late, he responds. But the way he says this means something else. It doesn't mean, it's too late, Dad, I'm all evil, there's nothing left to save. It means that as I've done too much, there's no way I could be forgiven. There's no way I could forgive myself. I'm being torn apart. You see a boy who clearly doesn't know what to do. He doesn't belong with Snoke, but he can't really go home either. I want to be free of this pain. I know what I need to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. This line we already don't really know what it means. We can understand it as either Kylo wanting to come home or killing Han. But what if it's actually ending his own life? Will you help me? Han says anything. Kylo takes out the saber. But this is where we have to pay special attention to how he hands the saber to Han. He takes out the saber in his dominant hand, in a way that it would be very easy for him to activate it. But we cut away, and when we cut back, he has actively flipped the saber and placed it into Han's dominant hand. The way Kylo gives Han the saber puts Han in control, giving Han the opportunity to use it with ease. At this point, Han realizes what Ben is asking him to do, which is why he hesitates. Instead of just grabbing the saber if he was honestly just handing it over, which is why he lingers long enough for Kylo to be able to change his mind. Some people theorize that Han actually turned the saber on himself, hoping it would give his son some peace of mind. But in this theory, it actually is Kylo's decision, and because it is his decision is why he is redeemable. It is in Jedi code, and this is emphasized many times in the prequels, especially with Anakin, to put the lives of many over the life of one. Han's death will save the galaxy. Snoke has instructed Kylo to kill Han. Snoke already distrusts Kylo and sees him question his choices. Up to this point, we have no idea how much access Kylo has had to Snoke's physical form, but we do know this. At the end of the movie, it is instructed to Hux to bring Kylo to Snoke. Through the action of killing his own father, Kylo will have access to Snoke's physical form. The light of the sun fades and darkness takes over. Starkiller Base is ready to be used again. We have script and novel notes, which again, if you haven't checked out the script or the novel, please do. There's so much great stuff in it. We have script and novel notes that clearly state Kylo does not want to use this weapon. And even in the film, his lack of a presence during the ceremony where the Republic, which very well could be where Kylo grew up given his mother's place in the government, is destroyed. Him not being there is evidence that maybe he doesn't support this weapon. But notes in the script do say when Hux and Snoke decide to finally use the weapon, this is not what Kylo wanted at all. And now on the bridge, we see that the weapon is ready to be used again, this time aiming for the Resistance. How many more millions of people will he need to feel scream in agony all at once and then nothing? like what Obi-Wan experienced with Alderaan. Kylo cannot die yet because he is the only one who can stop this, and it is extremely time sensitive. He needs access to Snoke as soon as possible. He needs to earn his trust. If he wants to end the reign of Snoke for good, he must put the lives of many over the life of one, which unfortunately for him is his own father. He grabs the saber himself and turns it to his father. Thank you. His sacrifice will in turn save the entire galaxy. Han went out the way he should have. His death is no longer a ploy so that his son can be fully pledged to the dark side, but one that will eventually save millions. When this happens, we see a face of somebody who's obviously not okay with what just happened. Again, read the novelization in the script notes. You get a lot of Kylo's almost inner dialogue, knowing what's going through his head during this scene, and it's very clear that he is not totally okay with what just happened. It's clear in the movie too, but Kylo is shot, takes it like a champ, but again, really too devastated to feel any more pain than he already does. He looks up and sees Rey and Finn. We can assume he thinks the shot came from them, but the camera focuses on Finn. He's angry at Finn. This is important that this direction is at Finn because right now, it is Finn's fault that Han had to die. Kylo having to kill his father was Finn's fault. Finn had essentially stolen Kylo's life, but Kylo had probably fought within himself to do countless times. Receiving the First Order, being forgiven, taken in, received his parents' love and affection, and who is reunited with Rey, who I do believe Kylo and Rey know each other from the past. This should have been Kylo's life, not Finn's. Kylo really has no one to blame but himself, but at this point, he's willing to point fingers. And on top of all of that, all Kylo wanted throughout this movie was the information on the droid Finn helped escape, the droid that Finn brought to Han. And upon Snoke knowing that information that Han had the droid, is when Kylo was tasked with the burden of killing his father. Kylo's obviously not in a super great place right now. He's not emotionally stable. He just killed his father, a task he didn't want to do. It was just shot. I mean, I get irrationally angry when I stub a toe. Trust me, I know it. I just did it before I filmed this video and I was very mad. Now the man who stole his life is getting away. And to make matters worse, let's cut to the forest scene. Finn has the saber. Saber that's been passed down the Skywalker line. So in that aspect, it does belong to Kylo, but again, Finn has taken another thing from his life. He has the saber. We don't really know how Kylo knows about the saber or what he knows about the saber. We can assume it's a similar Force feeling as Rey. When you can't think of a reason, just blame the Force. Again, we see Finn has replaced him. I also think it is very important to point out how little anger Kylo harbors towards Rey, comparatively. But Rey always attacks first, or at least tries to. Kylo actually makes a point of this in the book, saying he was merely trying to defend himself, and even makes a who shot first joke. But in the Force, he only uses the lightsaber to deflect while she is shooting at him. Rey has her blaster pointed ready to shoot when Kylo disarms her and throws her up against a tree. Lastly, when Rey gets control of the lightsaber, she is the one to activate it and charge him. You need a teacher, I can show you the ways of the Force. Let's go to the novelization, shall we? This is actually one of my favorite scenes in the novelization, if not my favorite. Snoke, word for word, tells Kylo that he feels compassion for Rey. And I think using the term compassion is very important, especially if you listen to Anakin's definition of the word from Attack of the Clones. Compassion is essentially the Jedi term for unconditional love. Whether or not this is platonic, familial, or potentially romantic, we won't discuss. But Kylo denies this affection, but Snoke recognizes that he is lying, saying it is not her strength but his weakness as why he was so easily defeated in the interrogation room. Snoke then instructs Kylo to bring Rey to him and he will show him the power of the dark side, which to me sounds like he's planning on taking Rey out of the picture as a threat. So when he offers to be Rey's teacher, this may be already going behind Snoke's back. This is the first time he's met a potential equal in the Force in God knows how long, and wants to train her to help him win the battle against the Darkseid Master, who took his life away. Now, I especially enjoy thinking about the movie like this, because it gives Han's death a great purpose, like it should have been. Han's death saves the galaxy. Han was still able to save his son, like Leia was so determined that he could do. And we are led to think that's no longer possible, but the truth is it's already happened. I don't think this will be clear in the next movie, sadly. But who knows, maybe Kylo's true intentions are the big twist of the next movie. I have a bunch of more theories of what I think episode 8 will hold, but that could be another video if you guys want to see it. But guys, this is just a theory, but I do think this might lead to the potential outcome. It's whether or not Kylo is consciously thinking about it yet or not that I question. But this gives Kylo every opportunity to be redeemed in my opinion. Let me know if you'd like to hear some more Star Wars theories in the comments below. Until next time, may the Force be with you. Force pushed. Wouldn't that be great if my camera fell over?